5 or so minutes. So if you need to take care of anything before then, feel free to go ahead and do that. A couple minutes after the hour, we'll begin. And Taylor, are we approving? Are you guys approving everybody that's trying to get in in the waiting room?
Yeah, we're on it.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, and anybody who's just jumped on in the last minute or so, we're going to get started in a few minutes. We just have a lot of people trying to jump on right now. Okay, guys, just a couple more minutes, and we will get started here. Welcome, welcome. Taylor, it would be great. We should have like like a little preview window there, just with some music or something like that.
Oh yeah, the waiting
telling
room.
everybody that we're going to get started soon.
Yeah, we actually have that for office hours. Haven't thought to make it for this type of show too.
It's probably a good idea because people are jumping on literally every 5-10 seconds, right?
Yeah. Everyone should know we're here. It's starting soon. Yep.
There's sort of that dead air, right, that you're trying to get rid of. Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're just going to get started here in just about 2 more minutes. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Happy Wednesday. This is going to be fun. As usual. Taylor, I see that guitar in the back. If you keep having that guitar there, I'm going to ask you to play one of these times.
Yeah, you know what I need to do is actually like record myself playing it with this microphone and make sure it just doesn't, blow the audio out. That's basically all I'm worried about is how will it actually come across.
You're teasing me there in the corner of your screen every time. All right. Hi, everybody. We are going to get started in about 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. If we want to start the stream to live, and let me know when that is ready to go, and then I'll do a brief intro. Taylor, am I waiting on you to give me the green light?
Patrick.
Patrick?
Yep, it's good to go, guys.
Okay, great. All right, well, welcome everyone. We're going to get started now. I am Nick Friend, CEO and owner of Art Storefronts. Glad to have all of you here today to come chat with me and hear some remarks and all of that different stuff. It's going to be a good one. I've prepared some remarks today, guys. And so let me just give you the agenda, though, of what we're going to do here. So to start out, we're going to show you guys a very brief demo of what Art Storefronts is here to solve, what we do. It'll be very short and sweet, but we find that it gives like a high level overview and provides a lot of context and answers a lot of questions for people that come onto these for the first time. We do have people who come onto these many times, and so welcome back to all of you guys. And then after the short demo, I'm going to give some remarks that I've prepared about just some things that I'm seeing going on with the art industry, with artists and photographers that are, that we're working with that are doing extremely well, and some patterns that I've noticed. And I really want you guys to get value. That's really the big thing at the end of the day. I'm hoping that you guys can walk away today with some nuggets, that help you improve your business and, help get you on the right track or make some different decisions. And and then after that, we will get into Q&A. And so it's your questions and answers. So while I'm talking, or actually throughout the whole presentation, throughout when the demo is going on and when, I'm giving my remarks, feel free to ask any questions that you want. You can do that in two ways. So you can do it in the chat window, okay? So you can drop your questions in the chat. And the way to find the chat is just hover your mouse over Zoom and you'll see the chat button and it'll pop up on your right-hand side. And then when we get into the Q&A time, if you want to speak to me directly, you can actually raise your hand, okay? And there's a feature in Zoom that allows you to do it. And I'll talk about it at that time again. But if you press the participants button when you hover your mouse over Zoom and it opens the window on the right-hand side with all the names and everything, there's a button there that says raise hand, and it's got like a hand that looks like this, right? And if you push that, it'll form a line. And then what I'm going to do is unmute you guys one by one. And you can ask your question to me directly and we can chat about whatever you think your biggest hurdle is, your biggest problem that you're facing right now in growing your art business, starting your art business, whatever it is there. Let me help you get over that hurdle and get you to the next spot. Taylor, I was going to mention one thing. I noticed is the video working properly on my end? Can you see me okay?
Good. Yep.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so then with that, let's get started with the quick demo. April, if you could go ahead and start that, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, guys.
This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos and me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. We get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company. And yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, Art Storefronts, that is 100% dependent, surprise this one, but on how successful our customers are, on how much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, and I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so, really, everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And, you know, it's never any one feature, it's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select a media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas. Most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker? Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. You know, another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is
Here we
we
are
have this
on
feature.
artist and
Excuse
art.
me, mute that. Called Live Preview with AR. Okay, and what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right hand side, and without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says Live Preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so, is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so, again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, you know, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up. You know, if we think of a sports analogy like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them; it's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of back-end software. It turns out running an art business, art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down. Okay, things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your web page for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you, and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back. Okay. Um, let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners, and I'll get into the reasons why. But we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast, we've got Bay Photo on the West Coast, we've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada, and then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise, and I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up, you get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button that says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid. You get paid. The order gets printed. The order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the side of the box. Boom, it ships to the customer. You touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, you know, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin, okay? Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably like a month before Christmas, maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds, hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. They can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and a number of different other items. We've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44, and what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page, great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, you can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize again, like, artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with the lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars, and we're adding puzzles, and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the #1 iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best in class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is: email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now. Okay. And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, and which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that. So I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is the marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter, all over this country and others. Every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop and a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week in, week out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level, and then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers, and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI at marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? It's what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the traction group. And after you sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the ramping group. After you sold a much higher revenue threshold that we don't publish, you get in the advanced group, which we call growth. We hold week in, week out, every single solitary week. And we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks. We go over the calendars. We talk about wins. Somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it. Here's the copy. Here's the Facebook post. And you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started like, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers. I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? Myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need a kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes. And that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated. Okay. There's no trolls. There's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists, photographers are sharing with other photographers, the people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing this same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. It really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly, you feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim thins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like, you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need to be able to have the ability. If you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like, we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life, in order, are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that. Right? So you can drop your images in a folder. Tell us to build the site, we'll build the site for you, okay? We'll manage your Facebook ads, okay? We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like, our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte or it's, almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay. Guilty, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer. And, I'd have the limited bandwidth to do that. And then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming onto the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency. And we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time. And if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much. All right, so now, guys, we're going to get into my remarks, and then following that, we will do the Q&A. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, again, put them in the chat, and then you can also start raising your hands if you want to, start getting in line to chat with me. All right, so okay, where I want to start today is one of the things that I've seen over many, many years, okay? And for those of you who don't know, I've been in the art business for over 20 years. The first company that I founded is called Breathing Color back in 2003. And it's now one of the largest manufacturers of fine art canvas, photography paper, art papers, metal, all sorts of products for high quality printing. We actually are the manufacturers of it. And so in that process, we worked with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of artists and photographers. And up until today, obviously with Art Storefronts, we have about 5,500 now, I think is the number. 5,000 to 5,500, I think is where it's at. It's obviously growing very fast, but of professional artists and photographers on our platform, we're just, and that can range from anyone who is just doing it from home and as a part-time, or just to make some side income. Like we have people who are stay-at-home moms or dads and just want to make an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a year, all the way to the most professional that you can get, full-time, people selling hundreds of thousands of dollars a year through their websites on our platform, and some of which are world-class, highly recognized people, such as, like on the photographer side, Tim Lehman, who is a National Geographic and also was BBC's Photographer of the Year. So we have everyone, in between there looking to sell their art. And what I have seen, from all of the different experiences that I've had, I've seen one big pattern. Artists and photographers come to me and they say, Nick, what about this thing? And what about like search engine optimization? Or what about this? Or what niche should I focus on? I've got all these different niches. They're asking very pointed questions about little details, okay? When running an art business, there's a big picture to the whole thing, okay? And if you don't get the big picture things right, you're not going to get anything right, and none of those questions even matter. And I noticed that almost like 99% of the time, these are the questions that I'm getting, and I say, you know what? Like, wait a minute. There's a bigger problem. You got to back up a little bit, right? So, for example, if your goal is to like build a pool in your backyard, right? And you're asking about, hey Nick, what type of water should I have in the pool? And I'm like, but then I notice you have a spoon, and instead of like a tractor to dig the hole, I'm like, wait a minute. Forget the water. We got a bigger problem here to deal with. There's a structural problem that you're never going to get to the water. The water doesn't matter until we solve that. Okay. And so what these things are in an art business, I boiled it down to two things, right? Number one, in this day and age, you need to have a proper art gallery website. Okay. And when I say that, it's sort of like an all-encompassing term, right? To just say, you're an artist, you're selling art, okay? And the features and functionality of your website, which is your art gallery, that's why I call it an art gallery website. It's your art gallery, okay? It's no different than having a physical retail art gallery like on Main Street, okay? It just happens to be online, but it's yours. It is your art gallery, okay? And it should make it as easy as possible to buy from you. It should give the finest customer experience possible. We live in an age of customer experience, okay? This is why Apple and Amazon are trillion-dollar companies, literally. And so properly equipping yourself, right, with the right tools for the job is just something that you should do and just check it off the list. Whether you work with us or you figure out another way to do it with your website, get the proper tools. That a lot of them are the industry standards at this point. If you look at the biggest companies that are selling the highest volume of art, and I'm talking about like just like the art.com, the biggest webs, like, you know, gallery sites, right? You'll see a lot of the common features that I'm referring to. And obviously we've taken steps forward and have way more than that, right? So, but you've got to properly equip yourself. If you're going to actually, like, if you want to have like a brand where people, you know, view you as someone credible, and you want to charge high prices for your art or increasingly higher prices for your art, and you want them to feel like this art is going to have some value and it's going to have value over time, you've got to be like in line with the industry standards at the very least. And so too many people just think, oh, I just need to get a website. And then they just get like a generic website from like a GoDaddy, Squarespace, or go down the list. There's literally 15 different options that you can get for a generic website. And they almost, at that point, it almost just becomes like a glorified business card, as if you got to check a box for, as a business owner these days, like, I just need a website. No, you don't. You don't need a website. What you need is a functional art gallery where people can transact with you and buy the products that you sell from you 24/7, right? At any time. And it will answer the questions. It will, if they're wondering whether they need a frame or not in their house, the reason a framing tool exists and is important is one of them. It's more important than you guys probably have ever realized. It's not for the fact that everyone's going to buy a frame from your site. About 10 to 15% will, but it's because the art buyer has a desired outcome that they are after. Okay. That's what every consumer has. You, me, all of us, whenever we buy a product, we buy the product because we have a desired outcome. Okay. And what you need to do as an artist and with your art gallery website is you need to facilitate that desired outcome. Right. And so this is why when people can like change the paint colors, you know, or the rooms, or try it on their wall, like literally with augmented reality with their phone and see it, like that's getting really close to the desired outcome. Seeing it framed on their own wall, that's about as close as you can get. But people, they go into this process and they don't know whether they want canvas or they want metal, you know, or they want an original or a limited edition or any of that type of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that they don't understand, right? Like, or it's not as clear to them as it is to you as someone who is in this business, right? Or who understands these things. Like when you've been around for a while, you take sizes like 16 by 20 for granted, as if everyone like can just visualize in their mind how big that is. I know how big it is. It's like roughly that, you know, like I can think about 20 by 30 or 24 by 36 or 40 by 60, but these, you know, the typical average consumer doesn't know what that is. And so seeing a visual and understanding, you know, where they, you know, should be in terms of like what they're trying to get is extremely important. And so all of these tools and features just sort of play into that. And so you want to see it through that lens. So number one, properly equipping yourself is just logical. It just makes sense. And for some reason, I see most people just don't do it. And I don't know why, but they just don't do it and they don't see it. And they tend to actually follow tradition, you know, websites and buying experiences that mimic regular products like toilet paper or, you know, other things that are low friction, right? As Patrick talked about in that demo, there's a big difference between high friction items like cars and art, right? Or homes, when you're buying homes, right? There's high friction items and there's low friction items. The high friction items need more, you know, functionality. They need more hand holding. They need everything they can get to get people across the finish line. All right. So properly equipping yourself is one. Number two is to have a successful art business, you have to solve the marketing problem. period. Period. Nothing else matters. This is where I'm going back to like what water in the pool, right? That I was mentioning earlier. What niche you have, all this stuff doesn't matter unless you have a solution for marketing. Okay. Just because you have a website, it doesn't mean you have a business. When you have a marketing engine, when your business has a marketing engine, meaning it is producing leads, right? Email addresses that you are acquiring, and you are moving them down a funnel where they first learn about you, and then they get a little more closer to you, and they move down, and eventually a small percentage of those people will buy from you. This is how every business works. Okay. It's no different for the art business, no different for anyone else. There is a funnel. You got to put people in the top and you get a percentage out the bottom. It's very important to have that mindset and understand, like, it's kind of like a machine, right? Like a conveyor belt, or if you want to think about it going downwards, that's fine. But you need to get people in the top, and you need to romance them and work them down, and then eventually they buy. Okay. But when you have that going, now you've got a business. So now you can see, if you step back and you look at being properly equipped with your art gallery. Okay. I could just say your art gallery. I don't even need to say online. Like, it's obviously in this day and age, this is a mandatory thing. This is the way you should be doing it. But you've got your 24/7 place to buy where the experience is amazing. And then you've solved your marketing problem. Okay. So now you've got an engine that's working, and now you have a business. Okay. Everyone who is successful has solved these two problems. Period. Okay. So you got to make sure at a high level, when you step away from this call, guys, that you sit down with your yellow pad or whatever it is, and you take some time to think and audit what you're doing or what you were thinking about doing, and say, wait a minute, is this really a problem, or am I solving the bigger problem? Okay. Because you'll never have a great art business until you solve these things. And too often I just see people, in the weeds on things that matter less. I don't want to say they don't matter. I just want to say they matter less. And they get caught up in that stuff, and then they're just kind of going sideways for years and years and years. All right. Okay. A stat that I want to mention that goes along with this. This is a stat we often talk about, and you can Google it. Okay. 99% of all Shopify stores fail. So this goes back to the website problem and everything I'm talking about. 99% of all Shopify stores fail. You can literally Google that phrase and you will see articles and everything about it. Okay. And this isn't a knock on Shopify, because you could substitute Shopify with Squarespace, Wix, GoDaddy, WooCommerce, WordPress. It doesn't matter which generic website platform you're referring to. The reason that 99% of all of these websites fail is because they've never solved the marketing problem. And they fell for the idea that all you need is a website and you've got a business, right? It's just not true. When you solve the marketing problem, you have a business for the very first time. That's when you have it. That's when everything changes. And so your job is to work on the marketing problem and prioritize it as much as you can. That's where your time should be spent, because it will take time to solve the problem. You'll solve it a little bit, and then to get to the next level, you're going to have to adjust things, and then you'll adjust things and you'll figure that out, and then you'll get to the next level and the next level. And by levels, I'm talking about levels of sales. The problems that you have from $0 to $2,500 in sales are very different from what you have from $20,000 to $50,000 and so forth. When you get to 100 or 200,000, completely different problems. The people that are doing $100,000 or $200,000 a year are asking questions and are asking for advice that is completely different from everybody else. It's stuff that nobody brings up. It's stuff that nobody brings up because it's just a whole different world at that point. So really important to understand. Okay, so I think it's really clear that prioritizing the marketing is something that it's just an absolute must do. And so this leads me to my next point, which is, do you guys know how little of competition you actually have? This is something that I hear all the time again, and it just blows my mind. It's, Nick, how do I compete with all the photographers that have an iPhone in their pocket now? Everybody has a camera, or everybody has a paintbrush. There's a gazillion artists out there. Like, how do I compete? Like, there's just way too much competition. There's, this is crazy. And I sit there and I put my head in my hands as I go, do you literally know how few of artists and photographers are out there that actually have ever taken their marketing really seriously? We're talking, guys, we're talking about less than 1%. It is tiny. Most of them are at art storefronts. I really feel that way. I think most of them are. A very, very large percentage of them are. But nobody does it. And so what you don't realize, and what we have all learned over here, is that the competition is almost meaningless. It's not even there. Everyone that with a phone in their pocket and everyone with a paintbrush that isn't doing marketing, do you know what they're all doing? Every one of them, uploading to Fine Art America, uploading to this site, to that site, Redbubble, Saatchi Art. Everyone in the world is doing that, right? And then they're also just launching like whatever website. But what everybody does by definition will not work. You just have to understand that. It's like, the best investors in the world, they talk about how once like an asset is really stable, all of the returns that you're going to get on it are gone. It's because it's stable because everybody is in it and the word has gotten out on it, and everyone's invested in it. And so in the marketing world, marketing tactics go out of style like every 2 years, right? So things like search engine optimization stopped being something that you should focus on in like 2008 or 9, maybe 2010. So whenever people bring up, I want to do search engine optimization to show up in Google, it's like, oh my gosh, that stopped working like 10 years ago. Please do not do that. And we actually have an automatic SEO feature built that does the SEO for you, specifically just because we don't want anyone to bring it up ever again, because we know it's a complete waste of time. We need you to focus on things that are actually working right now, not 10 years ago, right now, for like really working for artists and photographers in real time. Those are the things that you've got to be doing. Okay. So if you were walking into this and you thought that there was a lot of competition and that was holding you back, there's not, guys. There's really not. I'm telling you, we get about 70 or so demo requests a day at art storefronts. And most of the people that we talk to are like, yeah, I don't want to really do, I just want to upload my art somewhere or whatever. We're like, okay, go for it. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. There's literally like 1,000 artists a day, new artists a day, doing the exact same thing from every country all over the world. It's not just American artists and photographers that are uploading to those sites. They're literally coming globally, okay? So what everyone does, you don't want to be doing. It's the thing that is not working. You're following all of the starving artists off a cliff. Don't do it, okay? Be careful who you listen to. Okay, so the next thing is like, in where we're at, I think is such an exciting time because the gatekeepers are gone. And that's what's so incredible about what's changed, of course, what's happened in the last year all over the world is a very unfortunate thing. But it has changed technology and it has changed the way that art is sold. It's changed where the volume of art is being sold. It's just shifted, right? Of course, everything has, and art is no different. But the fact that you guys can run your own art gallery and sell hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, if not millions. I mean, I can't wait till we have our first artist that surpasses $1 million a year. It's going to happen very soon. It may happen this year. But the fact that you can run these types of businesses right from your home is incredible. And I don't know if that's your goal, your personal goal, but the reality is you can do it. You can literally run your own art gallery business, legitimately from home. You can do all your marketing. You can, provide a phenomenal customer experience. You can use live video and this type of stuff to be face-to-face with your customers and show them art and merchandise it and have that connection. This is all proven. This is not even like up in the air. This is all proven that this stuff works, and it is amazing. It's incredible. And it makes me really excited for someone who's been in this industry for a very long time to see like the fact that for all of the individual creators, the power is shifting, or it's shifted, and it's shifting even more to you, where honestly 10, 15, 20 years ago, this was not possible. We couldn't have this same conversation 20 years ago when there wasn't e-commerce and there wasn't, the internet and these social platforms, which is essentially Main Street of the internet, right? We often say that just as a way of thinking about it, like Facebook, Instagram, these different social media platforms are like the modern day, like CNN, Fox News, NBC, whatever it is. It's like they're all different. But it's where people are. It's where the eyeballs are. So rather than just being on TV and having to do TV ads, these eyeballs are on these platforms every day, like all day. It's crazy how much time people are spending on these platforms. And so you have the ability to get in front of them, okay? And you can do it right from home or wherever you're at, which is just incredible. So the opportunity is amazing, and this is why you keep seeing, like, if you're on our email list and or you're following us on Facebook, you're going to constantly see people that are breaking records of sales, and this is part of the reason why. And the other reason why is because these people are actually executing and they properly equip themselves. Like it's not magic. Like, these people are not buying lists of collectors or any of this stuff. They're not uploading to these websites. In fact, most people, by the time they get to Art Storefronts, they've already removed everything from these other websites. Everything. Okay. Some of them do it on a transition period. It doesn't mean that that's what you need to do. If any of these platforms are making you good money and they're serving a purpose, great. You should continue doing it. Same thing goes with working with physical retail galleries, right? There's no reason to stop working with anyone who is really making sales of your art. These are all just marketing channels, right? But you should be building your own direct art gallery business, because that is the way that you're going to earn the most money from your art. You're going to have something you could potentially retire on, pass to the next generation, because the only way to do that in any business, in any industry, is you've got to own your customers. You have to own your own customer list, your own lead list. That's who you do direct marketing to. That's your direct pipeline, right? For consistency. It's the only way you're ever going to get sales consistency, is by constantly building that. All right. So it's a very, very important thing. And the last thing that I want to say is that, it's really incredible where everything is going. I want to just give you guys a preview of some of that. Like, the technology that is coming down the pipeline is just incredible. I mean, we talk about like the art gallery website today, and you see like the features today, the stuff that is coming in terms of like even deeper augmented reality, even better user experiences. Another feature that we're releasing here in a couple of days, I don't know if it might be a couple of weeks. I'm sorry, I should say that, is a color search where, every image you upload, all of the colors are like dissected from the images. And so people can search by color on your individual site, and so we found in our own tests that this is really big with interior designers and hospitality. So there's just a lot of stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline. I mean, we're going to be reinventing the artist website and the whole buying experience, because we realize that a lot of the artist website is just sort of built on old norms of just like stuff that came from 2005, 2006, right? And just generic, regular websites. And the reality is, selling art and for buying art is just a completely different animal. It's a different beast. And all of that should be rethought with the sole purpose of deepening relationships with customers and increasing, and it always comes back to data, increasing the conversion rate of the number of people that come to your art gallery every day, right? So if 100 people walk in the door, we want the highest percentage possible every day to buy from you, okay? So every feature, every optimization is designed to do that specifically, okay? So you can imagine that as you continue going down that road, you just get better and better and better and better. And it's the art buyer, it's the person that's coming to your website that ultimately wins. So you'll be seeing a lot of that stuff over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The divergence from just the regular website is going to become much more and more extreme. So it's very exciting. Okay, that's all I've got for the remarks, guys. Let's go ahead and get into the Q&A now. So if you guys want to start raising your hands, once again, there is a participants button down below if you hover Zoom, and if you click that, and on the right-hand side, you should see a raise hand button. I received word that if you're on a newer version of Zoom, there's a reactions button down on the same bar. And in there is might be the raise hand button. If you want to raise your hand. Again, you can also feel free to put your questions in the chat window and I will start going down them. Okay. So I'm looking in the chat window now. I love the marketing for my art gallery. Would love to increase online sales. We currently use GoDaddy and have cart options. What sets art storefronts apart from the competition, and is it suitable for the gallery format or just sole artists? So Elise, I think we covered most of this in the demo earlier. I don't have a time reference of when you put this in here, but the differences couldn't be more drastic. What we can do to help you though, we have an art storefronts versus Squarespace, an art storefronts versus Shopify. I believe there's a GoDaddy one as well, where we list all of the features side by side and what we have and what they don't have. Okay. And we will put that, let's get that in the chat if we can. We'll also add a link to that in the show notes, you guys, which we will send to you after this presentation. Oh, by the way, my team is reminding me before I forget. We right now in May, before the end of the month, we are running a big promotion with a big discount to join Art Storefronts. And so, if you are interested in potentially joining, the next step is to request a demo. And when you request a demo, somebody from our outreach team will give you a call and learn more about you and your business and just make sure that you're a fit. They will go over all of the pricing details with you. They'll show you on a screen share all of how the pricing breaks down, all the features and functionality that you have to choose from. And so if you are interested in learning more and just taking that next step, you just want to request a demo, okay? It doesn't mean that you're ready to buy or sign up or anything, but if you're ready to get all of that detail, you want to request a demo next. And so my team is putting a link, if they may have done it already, in the chat window to request a demo. What I would say is if you're interested in doing that, please try to do it as soon as you can, because the next 3 days are going to be crazy. I know that there's barely any spots left for demos because it's a holiday weekend too. It's a 3-day weekend. So Friday is the last day that we will be in the office where you can take advantage of the discount. Okay. All right, so I've got a few hands up. I'm gonna go right there. Beverly is gonna be first, followed by Joyce, followed by Susan. Beverly, I just unmuted you. Go ahead. You may have to unmute yourself.
Unmute. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I got you.
Great. You mentioned that people that are selling higher numbers of artwork as opposed to the beginner or people with lower figures are asking different questions. And I'm curious what questions the people that are selling high numbers asking.
Oh, I mean, you know, how do I optimize my print fulfillment? I'm shipping 20 orders a day. How do I optimize my print fulfillment? You know, how do we optimize for international? I mean, it becomes very production oriented, you know, and like you know, things that are oriented around like the volume that they're doing all across the board in every step of their process, whether it's lead acquisition, you know, or print fulfillment, you know, and anything of that nature.
But if in the case where you're fulfilling the order through your site, then that really wouldn't be a question, would it?
Well, of course it is, because there's, you know, when you're at that level, like if you're looking at like one canvas or the other, you know, like there's a quality difference and a price difference between the two, then, you know, by saving 5% from switching from one to the other, you could save thousands of dollars a year, you know? But you want to look at all the different like elements that you have, all the levers that you have within the business, because you got a lot of options. You know, with print fulfillment, there are a ton of print fulfillment options. We literally have media types priced from high to low, the Ferrari of canvas, paper, metal, and everything, down to the more economical ones, right? And everything in between. So all of that stuff matters.
Right. Are those options that you're picking ahead of time to offer?
Correct.
Or correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, or you could offer all those options.
You can. I mean, we don't recommend, you'll give a little bit of paralysis. I think our recommendation is
Right.
five
Understood.
or six media types, but you can switch whenever you want. It's literally just a toggle of a button. But it doesn't.
Okay.
It matters less when you're doing less volume. What matters when you're doing less volume is all building your audience, getting sales rolling, getting traction, and building on that traction. Because the incremental difference on those things is like nothing, right? But the more volume that you do, everything matters in the entire stack.
Understood. Thank you so much. I love what you're doing. And again, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thanks, Beverly. Okay, Joyce, you're next. Just unmuted you. You'll have to unmute yourself.
I'm trying.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Do I not seem like a Joyce to you? This is my wife's. I have Zoom on mine. My name is Gordon. I had some questions, general questions about price, but you mentioned that those will be answered in the demo. So let me ask you this. My art is in a very, very small niche. How do you treat that? Can you handle that?
What is the niche?
The niche is very high-end car collectors, very wealthy people who collect classic cars.
Seems like a great niche to me. Seems like a pretty
I think
big
so,
niche.
but it's small.
It seems pretty big to me. I mean, are you saying that only those people like those cars? Aren't there people who like those cars but can't buy those cars? Or
Yes, there are, but okay, you have a point there.
But even if that wasn't the case, right? What I would say to you is, are you okay with it?
Am I okay with a small niche?
Yeah, are you okay with it? Like you don't have to answer that question, but that's ultimately the question that you'll have to ask yourself. Because what we say is, like, when we're working with people, if they have a really small niche and they're like, this is a really small niche, but I really believe in it and I got to go for it. And it's like, okay, no problem. We will help you go after that as hard as you can. At some point, you may hit a wall and you may want to expand out a little bit, right? And expanding out could be, in your case, just expanding the number of cars that you're, are you a photographer or are you a painter?
I'm a digital artist.
You're a digital artist. Sorry, I should have added that in there. I don't know why. Okay, you're a digital artist. So, but you would add some of those in, some of those other cars in there, and every car you're adding, you're essentially increasing your market opportunity. That's the way that I like to explain it. Is like, look at your niche as like a fixed market opportunity. Like, there are 50,000 people in there that you could potentially go after. Okay, I'm just throwing that number out there. If the more that you like, the more that you spread out, all you're doing is increasing that size, and you're giving yourself a bigger chance to hit a higher level of sales. So you have a ceiling built in that I or you can't do anything about. It's there, and it's based on the market opportunity of the content that you are putting out there, period. And the only way you're going to find out what that limit is by going after it, right? And then you have to make business decisions based on the advice that we're giving you, right? On, like, you know what, I want to go all in on that, but you know what, I'm going to throw in like another car that is a collector type of a car, but maybe it has really mass appeal, and I'm going to dabble on that. I'm going to try one and see what happens, because it's called a pivot. That we call it pivoting, just prototyping is the word I really like to say. Is like, you're kind of like, when you do that, you're kind of launching a prototype and then you're testing it and seeing what happens. Because what you're looking for is you're looking for like better reactions, sales that happen as a result of it. You will know when you start doing marketing direct to your audience, you're going to start understanding what content is resonating and what is not, but you can do a hybrid strategy of really pursuing the niche you have now while, every month or two or month or three, trying something new to expand out and see, if that's helping you. And that's probably the way that I would do it.
I have one follow-up question is regarding expansion, actually. How do I reach? One thing I have right now is a feature called Your Car's a Star. So a consumer can send a photograph of their car, and I will make a piece of art out of that photograph. I will digitally enhance it. But commercially, there's a way to expand that as well. For example, if a hotel is redecorated, I can put classic cars in scenes in every local town. And they could have classic cars on the walls of each floor, okay? So that's a commercial market for this. Both the idea for the hospitality industry and the idea for the collector car guy who wants his car photo enhanced, they're kind of related. Can your operation handle that kind of thing? Consumers send in photos and we enhance them, that kind of thing.
Yes. Very simple answer. Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, you got it. Okay. Thank you. All right, next is Susan, followed by Maureen and Martin. Susan, I just unmuted you. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Are you there now?
Yes.
This is obviously very basic. I've been a seller for many, many years, and I've just turned 77 and having some problems with my vision, and everything I did was very detailed. So maybe 17 years ago, I did a series of giclées, which is, obviously really a high end at that point and a newish way of creating something that would be a multiple that I didn't have to hand color, because these were very time consuming things. And I have a big market in Japan, or did have, till the economy went. And I have not kept any records really, except by not ever deleting any emails. So I have, 250,000 emails, which are kind of useless because people have probably changed those things. So I don't really know where all of these wonderful collectors are that bought from all the galleries that were buying my multiples and Japan. And so I know I have a product that people want when they see it.
Which is the most important thing.
It really is, I know. But they've been things that were, greatly hand done. And in fact, I would want to maybe keep that as a separate type of approach to people who've been collecting my work. Maybe they still want those things that are worth very, a whole lot of money, that are hard to produce, and that I only have a small amount of left. But what I don't see yet in my brain is how does someone go to a site that says art storefronts and then locates you?
No.
They look me up, Google me, or figure out how to decipher my signature, which is
you market to them, right?
Oh.
That, yes, and people will, and you make yourself visible if people do search your name, right?
Yeah.
But the key thing is that you gotta just start like everybody else does, the same way, right? And do the marketing and build your audience and build, find the people that like your work, and hope.
Sure.
And I would definitely say that you will want to mine those emails that you have 100%. It doesn't matter if they're not using that email anymore. Like, many of them will be using that email. You'll want to start with everything that you can, and you go from there.
Okay, so it's not as if when you mention your platform, I'm thinking, okay, well maybe you have a place like someone goes to art.com and then
No,
looks stuff. So you
no.
are not.
Yeah, let me explain that part. So what you're getting from us is your own art gallery website, like www.susanhuntart.com, right?
Yeah. Okay. Because that what I was trying to figure is how can I also mine other people? It's like saying, oh, I'll buy other mailing lists, but that's silly. I think art is so individual that we do best doing the things that we do, and people, I don't know, somehow find us. I that's where I'm trying to figure out how do I can mine some of my stuff with by having some help, but it's harder with vision and computers. And but it's not that you are helping us do anything but appeal more to somebody. I just don't know how you get to that. Where do you where do you somehow go from uh, being at home where I every piece of anything I did was always by first class mail with a pretty stamp that we stuck on, printed and everything worked fine. But then when my master printer and husband died, that screwed everything up 13 years ago, and then everything comes in between. But I still have people who find me, even though my website has 4 different phone numbers, and I don't think maybe on one page somewhere there might be the one that is actually the right one. People still manage to find me, which tells me that there are 20 times that number of people who would buy something if they could remember how to even spell Hunt Wolkowitz.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you should get the help that you need from a tech standpoint
Yeah,
to to try to make this happen. I mean, it seems like it would be very worthwhile.
I really think it would be, and I do right now have a little bit of money to do something with. But I that's when the next step has to be finding out what your charges are. My website was created so long ago, uh, when a son was in college doing the beginning thing.
Yeah.
So so to try and make any changes, it involves having to change a whole lot of stuff, because if you want to change a green, everything has to change. So
Yeah,
this is
which
it.
is
That was
technology has changed. That's nonsense now. You move over to a platform like ours,
yeah.
and it's all essentially done for you.
How do
Uh,
you how do you capture the images properly, like a 1200 DPI?
there's plenty of companies and people that do the capture for you, and you can even you could do it yourself, but we have an article on this.
Okay.
Can we get this posted in the chat, you guys, Taylor or April? We'll post it, and we'll also put it in the show notes as well. We've got a great article on how to capture your artwork,
Okay.
and it shows you the options from you know doing it yourself to all the way to hiring someone.
Well, hiring someone would obviously be what I would do, and I'd want to redo everything. But I even do miniatures that are maybe 1 inch square all the way up to 20 by 30. So, I mean, and it doesn't show up well on a website because of all the super detail. I use magnifiers. That doesn't show up very well unless you have a really good capture. And I'm looking at a huge investment if that's how I do it, and having to know for sure that this is the way to approach it. And obviously a lot of things specifically that I can
Well, look,
deal with.
you gotta simplify.
Yeah.
You're everything that you're talking about is valid, but like it's way too much, right? Like you don't need to do all of the things that you're thinking in your mind, right? Number one, like you got to build a business, right? Remember what I said earlier? A website is not a business. You need to build a business, right? And uh, and so that's what we're here to help anyone do. If you want to just upload to Fine Art America or Redbubble or Saatchi, I saw somebody talking about that. Just upload to those and then come back to us in 6 months when you haven't made any money on it.
I've
But when it comes to your art and capture, you don't need to capture like 200 of your pieces that you have there. Take the best ones and do those ones first, right? Simplify it. Like you don't need like 100 pieces to launch. We tell people you need one, because one good original painting, you can do so much marketing with it and then sell it, to one person, and then you're on to the next. Too many people think like they need this massive inventory to get started, and what they end up doing is launching with like a ton of art, and then they lost all of their ability to market their process of creating that piece, which is what people want to see. That's part of the romance. So it's simpler than you think. Launch the site, and have somebody help you with the tech, because that will be a problem. Get your, figure out a number, like your 15 or 20 of your best stuff that is going to work well. Invest in maybe that. See if you can, when you see the article that we sent you, whoever's helping you with your tech or someone in your family, they might be able to help you capture your own artwork. I mean, we show you in there, we have an expert who's an Art Storefronts member. He's a photographer, and he did capture for years and years and years. And so he did this article for the community. All right. And he tells you exactly what camera to buy. There's actually a link to where to buy it on Amazon used, not even new. Right. And I think it's like a couple hundred, it's like $400 or $500 or something. And then the exact lighting that you could use, that you should use for it. And it's literally tells you everything. And so if you look at your investment, you may find that that's a better way to go. You may not, especially on the first round. But what I would say is, like, take it easy, dip your toe in the water, launch the business, in a smart way. Don't do everything, because if you launch it small and it doesn't work, then you've got to fix that first before you go and do 200 items. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. That was one of my big problems, was trying to show little pieces and bigger pieces on the same website, because we tried to make certain things consistent, and then a lot of things, the little pieces looked like they were supposed to be as important as the big pieces, but the size is a huge important thing as far as what you're looking at, and they were all mixed up, and there were lots of mistakes that were never fixed. So I don't know whether I should maybe do some, I don't know. Anyway, too many questions I have, but I'll look at what you have, and this is coming at exactly the right time for me, because there's no time like the present when you're 77. So, but I'm well.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. Okay. Maureen, you're next. I just unmuted you.
So my question was, I have a website that's really my portfolio of art, filmmaking, and visual arts. And inside it, I would like to go and have a link so people could buy work. So what I'm wondering, I'm on the home stretch of nailing this website down. My designer just said that she wasn't so happy with Wix right now, because that's what she's been using. And I wondered, in that integration process, did you have a, WordPress or Weebly or Wix or Square, or any of those? Was there a site in which your interface works well with, right? Because I don't want to throw down for my final round and then it not work because I picked the wrong one.
Okay, so Maureen, do you know that we are a Wix of, selling art?
I do. I've seen all your demos. So I guess
we do everything they do, and then we do like 1,000 more things specifically for the art business.
Well, okay. So I guess.
So you have to ask yourself, like, why would you need Wix? Why would you want that? And why is that?
Let me go back to what my mo.space.art is, a website that's really my portfolio of everything, right? So I have, I've got my Vimeo film stuff on there.
I see.
I have all these, all of my writing samples are on there, right?
Got it.
Like a whole variety of things. So when I'm applying for a grant, because I cross multiple mediums, I finally was like, I need a website that shows the breadth, because if I only do one piece, it looks like I've done nothing, except I've been working for 30 years, but across multiple mediums. But what happens is that I know my friends want to buy my work, but they don't want to buy it from me, which, you already talked about these kinds of things. So once I give that out, and I have a lot of emails, right? So I've been watching you for a long time. the issue is inside my portfolio website, I want a store, right? And so
Right.
that's, I want when you go, if you sort of go to that, or I can send a link going, oh yeah, it's inside my portfolio, but go straight to the thing. So I guess what I'm wanting is what for my portfolio, what will work for the integration for your piece, because I'll probably use you for the store piece of it, but to kind of make these talk to each other.
Yep. So there's probably about 20% of our members do exactly what you're talking about, and we call it a bolt-on. It's a bolt-on.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you request a demo, if you are you working with anybody yet with us on our outreach?
You know
team?
what? I have to say that I was I was in January, and then COVID hit, and then my dad died, and then I've been doing a lot of stuff with that. So now I'm kind of
I'm sorry to hear that.
Back to this. So I want to write down what you're saying. So the bolt-on.
Yeah, the bolt-on. When you can request a demo again, and it'll put you right back in the queue. That's probably a good idea. And it's called the bolt-on, and we have a whole article, and our support team will show you how to do it.
Great.
But yeah, there's plenty of people who do exactly that, and it works just fine.
Okay. One other question.
Sure.
Listening to your prepared remarks, it's come up to do some of my paintings as prints. And then I was like, oh, a bag or a variety of things. Is there an article in your stuff that could guide me to how to think about making that move, right? So my stuff is, 18 by, it's not big. But then it incorporates words and poetry. So so what I found in my last show was, little details people wanted, right? Like they wanted a little piece. And so I was starting to play around with that and do like little minis. But it's like, a little mini would be great on a mug, right? Or it would be really fun, for a bag. So is there an article in your stuff that's talking about how to make that little kind of transition? So yeah, it's easy to make a print, but then, can I get control and go, I'm going to use one little piece of this print to be able to incorporate into your other products? Like
one little
how you might. So obviously you'd shoot it separately. Is that, as a thing, but is it possible to do that?
I'm not following. You're saying like you have one piece and then you want to take a piece of that and then put that on a mug, or the whole thing?
Yes. Well, so can I be so bold as to just show a thing and then visually?
Yeah.
And you can see it. So let's see if I can start. My little. Okay. I don't know. Can you see anything?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So.
Can you back up a little bit?
Right. So you're looking at an image.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So if you could imagine that, let's say this little guy, I've used for publicity instead of the whole painting. So I'd like to be able to make a print of the whole thing. But then it's like, you know what? Somebody doesn't want all of that. They just want a little piece that I could then put on a mug. Or in this case, what was really grabbing me was the bags. So is it possible through Art Storefronts with those producers to kind of go, I'm going to just photograph this, and then that can be available through these product lines?
I mean, it is, because what we're doing is we're just automating fulfillment for you. And so, they're like, you're gonna have a more complex fulfillment situation. And you but what happens is that you can turn it on where it's completely automatic. And then you also have the ability to place fulfillment orders in the back end really easily, right? So like if you're selling individual pieces of that item or something, you might actually use the non-automated fulfillment. It's like non-automated automated in a way, right? It's just
okay.
If that makes sense. So like an example of where that is commonly done is with limited editions, because people need to sign them. And so they don't want it automatically shipped right to the customer. They need it shipped to them so that they can take it out really nicely and sign it, right? So they kind of want to control when the fulfillment happens and what it is, right? So yeah, it's obviously way too complex of a topic for me to cover as like CEO. My tech team can handle it better.
No, but it sounds like it's possible. It sounds like with a little bit of figuring it out.
Oh, it's totally possible. I mean, look, what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be complex no matter what you do. At least we have like fulfillment, like it makes it easy for fulfillment. So I'll tell you that on the fulfillment side of things, it's not getting any easier than us. Right. However you end up setting that up.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for letting me know about the bolt-on.
You got it.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Maureen. Okay, Martin, you're up. I just unmuted you.
Great. Thanks a lot for answering our questions.
For sure.
I'm not gonna ask a question. I'm gonna make a suggestion that it looks like we've got about 40 people on this call, and it looks like you've got about 21 new messages in the chat. I wonder the value of the Q&A that we're going through right now. The last few questions have been highly personal, and I don't know that I've gleaned any information that's usable for me. So I just wonder if there's a different way to go about this Q&A, or not have a Q&A and allow your sales consultants to manage the people that actually come to this call with you. So
yeah, maybe every session is different.
Some suggestions. I mean, I've presented about 10 questions prior to this call to Patrick, and that might be the way to do it. Although, as a follow-up, it might be helpful to everybody who's on the call if you could answer some of these questions offline and then distribute them to the people who are in attendance.
Sounds good. So what's your question for today, Martin?
Like I said, I'll step aside to save some time since we're already about 90 minutes into your call. So go ahead and move on. I'll ask my questions to my sales consultant.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Martin. All right, so I'm going to go through the and I see your questions in here, Martin. Who are your primary competitors, and why do you consider them your competition? We don't have the competitor. There's nobody doing what we do. There's not one single company out there whose stated mission is we are trying to make artists more successful. Okay, so there's website competition, which we've talked of plenty on this call, but there's nobody that is completely focused on on the selling of art and is combining what we believe like the everything that you need to get the job done, right? You got to have the proper art gallery website. You got to have features now. You got to have features in the future, right? You need all of these back end sorts of features like print fulfillment and stuff like that. Especially as you scale, these things become really big problems. There's other software behind the scenes that you can really appreciate once you start selling more to make it more efficient, to run the business better. And then obviously the Art Business University, right? The marketing, the ongoing marketing, the goalposts are changing on marketing every 6 months to a year. And so being able to stay ahead on the marketing, being able to always have your pulse on what is actually working right now for the most successful people, and being able to execute on that and have a playbook for it immediately, right? Is, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give everybody that's a member on our platform a competitive advantage over everyone else, where they've got an information and a technological advantage, and they're able to build their own business. They've got everything they need to build their own business, and nothing else is in their way, right? And so at the beginning of my presentation, I talked about how a website is not enough, right? Everybody out there is testing that theory. And I encourage anyone who does not believe me, go get a website and go do the marketing on your own. And if you can make it happen, amazing. It's a hard road. And otherwise, you can become a member of what we're doing. And what we're doing is, like, I think a good way of explaining it too, that artists can understand, is it's kind of it's sort of like a co-op. If you guys are familiar with what that is, artists like very commonly used to get a retail gallery, and like 10 or 15 of them would get together and they'd chip in on the rent. And then they would also one of them would work the gallery a different day of the week, right? And it's called a co-op gallery. And so what they're doing is they're sharing the expense, but they're getting the benefit of a gallery, right? We're doing the exact same thing, okay? We're allowing artists and photographers to get in as low as a $999 membership fee to get marketing consulting for life, right? How is that even possible? You should be wondering, how is that even possible? The only reason it's possible is because everybody is chipping in, right? And then it's paying for the marketing team. That we have a whole marketing staff that is running case studies and doing research on the technology, like what conversion features we need to do, and then testing lead generation strategies and selling strategies, like in order to drive sales of the art, right? So everybody is chipping in order to have this consulting. We're doing live consulting like this, except it's actually it's specifically on the tactics and the strategies that we're teaching on. It's not just generalized like this, but you can go to those consulting sessions 2 times a week. They're Tuesday and Thursday, and ask questions to our team, right? To the teachers, to the coaches, on exactly what we're teaching, to get over hurdles that you have. Like, oh, hey, I was implementing this Mother's Day playbook, and my open rates on my email were low. Here's what happened. What do you think it is? And actually get consulting, to help you move the business forward. So, when I started this business, like 8 years ago now, 7 or 8 years ago, the reason I did it, Martin, is because, back in 2008 or 2009, when I was running my manufacturing company, Breathing Color, and by the way, somebody asked, why isn't Breathing Color a fulfillment partner? Breathing Color does not do printing. Breathing Color makes the actual canvas and the paper and all of those products and sells to printing companies. Okay, but back when I was in that position, I spoke to the Squarespace people and the Shopify people and the Wix people, and I was like, you guys need to do this, because what we saw from my side, we got to see where all the canvas and art paper, where all the printing was being done, all the volume, okay? And it was moving dramatically online to the art.coms of the world. And when I saw that, we also saw that artists and photographers were getting hurt really bad. And you could see that they didn't have the website experiences. It was a huge problem. Like the art.coms of the world had these wall preview tools and framing tools and these visualization features. They didn't have them in the beginning, but they started having it in like 2008, 2009. And so they grew like crazy. They got to like $200 million a year individually, but billions of dollars was being moved into these online companies, billions of dollars of art. And so when it finally got to like 2012, 2013, it was 2014 when we decided to start Art Storefronts. I was like, nobody is caring about the artists at all. No one is giving them any of these features or anything. So we launched in 2014 or 2015. We had the wall preview. We were the first website platform. It's sort of crazy to say. In 2014 or 2015, nobody had that for art. You could not get a website on your own and have a wall visualization tool with a framing tool and to change the colors of the background and visualize it on a wall. Nobody did it. It was incredible. I talked about it for 5 years and tried to get people to do it, to work with, people that I knew that were struggling. And so it was one of those things where it was finally, we're going to do it, and we did. So here we are today, many years later. But that gives you an explanation of where the competition is and was, and we're setting the stage now. People are copying us. All right. They tend to be about 3 or 4 years behind, but you will see that. See some features that we released this year. They won't have them for 3 or 4 years, but once they've figured out one of them 3 or 4 years down the road, we're already like, 15 or 20 features further. So, I hope that, I hope that makes sense. Do you upsell your customers on services that are not part of their original investment? I mean, we have a marketing agency. So the way that we explain the marketing agency is everything we give you at Art Storefronts is DIY, do it yourself. We're giving you the exact playbook to do every single thing on your own. We want you to do it on your own. But there are some people, and especially people who are selling a lot, as they start selling a lot, want to outsource parts of the marketing, okay? So we have a marketing agency that specifically fills that need for people who are like, I don't want to do the marketing. I want you to do it, or I don't want to do these parts of it. Can you guys handle that for me? And so we offer services like that so that they can grow and scale. It's obviously it's your choice. So, okay. Do these companies have y'all's website or company attached to the URL, artstorefronts.com? No, they don't. You have a subdomain when you're working on the site, but ultimately you will connect your own custom domain, www.yoursite.com, to your site. It's your site, it's your business. Okay. Okay, Maureen, I saw that question. We answered that. Okay, Annalisa is asking, how do I get a one-on-one meeting with someone today? April, can we pass Annalisa's name? Annalisa, we may need your last name. If you could put that in the chat, and we can get somebody to talk to you one-on-one today. People are still joining this session right now, an hour and a half late. Amazing. Okay, how does an artist deal with business licensing and copyright issues? So copyright, I don't know what you mean by it. Do you mean like a business, like getting a business license? Is that what you mean by it? If that's what you're asking, I would just type into Google, get a business license and your city name and your state, and there will be a company, a government entity that will handle that. Copyright issues, put a copyright symbol on your site. What I will tell you, and you can use, we have a watermark feature if you're worried about people stealing your images. What I will tell you is that not a single person who sells more than $20,000 a year at Art Storefronts uses watermarks. Nobody. So their answer to that question is copyright is not an issue. Just so you know, on the web, if anybody wants to steal images from your site, they essentially can. What your goal is just to make sure they don't have access to a high resolution version. Our technology handles all of that. Your high resolution file is never exposed, and we only put on the smallest web ready file that we can display that still looks perfect, right? Because it's got to look good, but we don't want to give the web visitor any more than that, just in case there's some nefarious things going on. Timothy and Greta, I see your hands up. I'm just going to continue rolling through the chat, and then I'll get to you guys in a second. So Martin, was that you right here? Oh, it was privately. Oh yeah. Okay, Martin. Oh, Patrick actually copied and pasted to me privately your email that you emailed him about the best 10 sites and Pixap, Redbubble, and all that. I don't know what site you got that on. There's a lot that we are on that I consider highly credible. But again, this list right here, Pixap, Redbubble, Society6, Amazon, Saatchi Art, Artfinder, they're all marketplaces. They're all these online galleries where I'm referring to, where everybody is just uploading their art to, right? And so we don't even have the same business model as them. They are trying to get, they want to make a business off your guys' art, right? They take whatever they do with that, but they're a marketplace website. Okay, we are helping you have your own website, your own business, separate from that. So if you want to work with any of those, it's just a separate. These are spokes in your marketing wheel, as we say, right? If any of these online galleries can get you distribution and get you sales, great. But the thing that you have to watch out for is that they are stealing your traffic. We wrote an article on it, and can we get it in the chat? I want everybody to understand this. This is why when artists come to our platform, if they've been working with any of those types of companies, they tend to remove their content. And it's because what those companies do is when you upload your work to their sites, they search engine optimize your name, and they're very good at it. And these are very big sites that Google likes because they're massive, and Google likes massive sites, okay, about any specific topic. And so when you're out there doing your marketing, these sites are going to show up. And instead of clicking on your art gallery and buying from you directly, they go to these other places because there's so many different things to click on, and they might even out optimize you or whatever. So they steal traffic that was otherwise yours. So you're working for them. You're doing the marketing for them. And then they're keeping the customer name and hiding it from you most of the time, almost all of the time, right? That's the biggest part of it. The customer acquisition is the most valuable piece. And that's what they're taking from you. And then, they're taking a piece of the sale, and it varies between all of them. Instead, you might have handed out a business card to somebody, and then that person goes on Google and types it in, and then they end up buying from one of these sites, and they should have just bought from you directly. So they're stealing your traffic. So you've got to make sure that they're adding value to you. Otherwise, you got to go through the process of taking your images down, which is a whole nother thing. Our Art Storefronts members are talking about that all the time in our private community, about how they've struggled to get these sites to even take them down after they've closed down their account. Their images are still appearing in the Google image search, and they're going to dead links. And they're like, they want the company, and the company hasn't taken it down yet, and they want them to take it down. So there's huge differences between what we do. And in fact, let's get another article in the chat and in the show notes, which is Art Storefronts is not a marketplace. It's probably the best article to give more detail on that. So my best advice, though, is utilize the marketplaces to your advantage, but understand and know what they do and what they are. Because for too many years, everybody's been uploading their stuff onto these things, basically giving away their images. And the worst part is, if these websites are the first place that you uploaded the image and it's not your own website, Google timestamps that and believes that they are the primary owner of that image. Or I don't want to say owner, because I don't mean like owner or copyright owner. I mean, like, in terms of search engine optimization priority, they will prioritize that, because Google does not want to display duplicate content. Okay. So if one piece of art is uploaded to one of those sites and it was done first on Fine Art America is going to own that listing in the Google search. Okay. So they're always going to go there no matter what marketing you do. Right. So you can see the problem. So the important thing is, if you're working with any of these sites, anytime you have a new image, you need to upload it to your site first. You need to wait like at least 2 weeks, make sure it shows up in the Google image search, so it's indexed in there, and then upload it anywhere else. All right. So that way you're the primary one that's going to benefit in the Google image search for any of your content, and you're going to build your own customer list and get those sales. So all of these nuances are very important to understand when you're creating your overall strategy. Do you consider your business successful? Yes. How long have you been in business? 2014 is when the company launched. Please describe the process of technical support. Technical support is something I care very deeply about. If you read our reviews on Facebook or Trustpilot or anything, like, you're going to see the quality of our service. It's something that I'm very proud of, and it took a long time to get this level of service, but it's very good. So we have workshops, we have chat support, we have ticketed support. We are doing it 7 days a week. I think it's 5 days a week on chat, 7 days on tickets. Clearly the weekends, we're not 24/7, but our support is very solid. And our goal is to try to make you guys successful. So we do the best we can to try to get you the support that you need and to get your website launched the right way. Like, it's not just about answering your tickets. It's like, when you launch your website, we're giving you a full guide on exactly the way that we want you to set it up according to best practices, right? According to best practices, that's very important. And there's even a marketing launch workshop that we have you go to when your website is ready to launch, where our team is auditing websites live to make sure that you've set it up properly. Because setting up an art website is different than other types of websites. So we're not just doing, like, in other words, reactive support. We're doing proactive, like, trying to make sure that you guys are set up properly to succeed. If I switch over to Art Storefronts, do I get to keep my domain name? Yes, absolutely, because it's your domain name, right? Your domain name, guys, it's like, The best way I like to explain it is like, you know how you have an address on your house? Like you might have an address block on your house that's like, 5001, right? You can pull that off and put that wherever you move to, right? That's your website address. So it doesn't matter where your website currently is. You will be able to point your website or your domain name, I'm sorry, your domain name over to your Art Storefronts website once you're ready to go live, okay? And again, our team will help you with that process. It is not hard. Okay, Greta, I'm gonna go to you. I just unmuted. If you're ready, go ahead and unmute yourself. Greta, are you there? I see you're unmuted, but I can't. Your microphone, you might be connected to the wrong microphone on your computer. While I'm waiting for you, I'm going to continue with some of these chat questions, but let me know if you figure that out. I see your question here, Greta, in the chat too. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer it. You said you inherited 100 paintings from your late mother. She was a noted artist in another city. You want to create a website with it. You have a couple photos showing her work, but nothing else. Interesting. So do you mean you only have the photos or you have the paintings as well? I'm assuming since you said you inherited 100 paintings, you've got those too. So you're going to have to get more scans done or high resolution photos. They told you, I talked with vendors at the International Home Furnishings Market at High Point, North Carolina. Yep, I'm very familiar with that. They told me the originals would probably sell, but not the prints. I mean, I learned that I need to contact interior designers in geographic areas that would tie into her subject matter. Actually, there's parts of that advice that is good and parts that is, I'm not going to say bad, but it's just missing. Generally speaking, there's a market for originals and prints. We have some of our best artists that sell the most. They sell open editions, limited editions, and originals, all three. Okay. So we also have people who are selling originals only. I think the most successful people are actually selling all three, or at least two of the three. That's what we see. That's just the truth of what we see. But yeah, you're gonna, your job, they're right on the geographic areas. But what I would say is that, and I don't know what type of art it is. Let's just say it's like coastal beach art, right? So you can very easily say, okay, there's coastal beaches, California, Florida. You think about all of the areas where that type of work might appeal, Hawaii, up the East Coast, all of that. And it's what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be marketing, to people, and you're going to want to build an audience of people who live in that area, grew up in that area, got married in that area, have a house in that area, all of that type of stuff, right? So interior designers are just one small part of that. You want everybody, that has an emotional connection to that type of subject matter, right? And what we're doing at Art Storefronts is helping our members build that and understand how to do that and to execute on that, right? So, and you will be able to sell originals and prints to all of those different people. That one show, probably originals might be the thing. And so maybe that's good advice, but you're not limited in any way. And you may want to start by selling originals since that's what you have on hand and use that to maybe finance some more scans, to do prints, but you can totally do that. You don't need to start all of it at once. You could start with just a few, 10 or 15 or 20, like I was telling somebody earlier. So don't think that you got to just, take on the whole thing. Just start with what you and your family or friends can look at, of those 100 pieces that you have, find the stuff that you think are the best out of all of it and launch it and give it a go. But you just got to get started. You got to get started. And of course, obviously, in regards to scanning, I see your question about scanning. Read the article that we have about capturing your artwork that's in the chat and is going to be linked in the show notes that we send out to everybody. Joyce said, thank you, have to go. We'll request a demo. Thank you, Joyce. Or actually, it wasn't Joyce. I think it was Gordon. What's his name? How do I find the photographer member with the lighting and camera info? You just need the article. That's all you need. I have also been trying to get a one-on-one. This is from Samarit. The link to request a demo does not work. Is that right? If it doesn't work, actually, I'm clicking on it right now. It just worked for me. So maybe, I don't know what happened there. Maybe try it again. But if you just go to artstorefronts.com, there's always a button in the upper right-hand corner, a big orange button that says request a demo. Just click that and get it in. But we've got your name here and your full name is in there. So April, if we can get Samarit's name to the team and have them reach out, that would be great. The only problem is, Samarit, is that if you have not requested a demo yet, they won't have a way of reaching out to you. So you may need to do that real quick. Okay. Mike said, want to move forward, want a demo before the sale ends, but will be unavailable until the first week of June. Please have someone call or email me. Okay, yeah, Mike, we got it. We got your email there. Thank you for putting that in there. Again, if you're on, Mike, if you haven't requested a demo yet, you might need to do that. But they'll email you and arrange a time. Wow, that line of information is really impactful. Thank you, Holly. I don't know which one it was, but would love to know. Okay, looks like that's it. Thank you guys, and thank you everyone for your patience. And Martin, thank you for your patience. I'm glad that we got to run through your questions. Sorry about that. And thanks for the tips on how to improve these things. We love it. It was really great being with all of you today. I enjoyed all the different questions that you guys had. I hope you got some value out of it, and enjoy the rest of your week. And I hope you guys have a great 3-day weekend, and take care. I'll see you next time.